Thanks for choosing the Urban Scope podcast. I'm back with more entertainment news. And recently, there's been more news on the update on this Last Friday movie from Ice Cube. And of course, the movie is supposed to be titled Last Friday. And Mike Epps confirmed that Aaron McGruder has joined Ice Cube and DJ Pooh as writers for the Last Friday, which is huge news because Aaron McGruder is the creator of Boondocks and what he was able to do with that show and what a staple it has been in the urban communities and just for entertainment in general has been amazing. And it was supposed to have a resurgence, but unfortunately, it didn't. One Boondocks is one of those staple shows growing up as a kid or as a as a teen or in the early 20s. Show that is one of the most quotable shows, similar to what Friday is. So it's very unique or a great parallel that they're working together now because both are known for their quotes and for their TV moments or film moments because we know Friday is very heavily quoted as well as the Boondocks. So I expect them to make more quotable moments and quotable scenes and things like that because those one of the things that you admire about both these pieces of works from the Boondocks and the Friday series is that they have timeless moments and timeless quotes. And that's one of the biggest things, especially if I could speak for the urban community on this about movies, is having quotables. But every movie's memorable movies have quotables, like the Jerry Maguire movie, Show Me the Money, and just different movies have these quotables that stick with you, that make you remember the movies. And Friday and Boondocks are definitely in that same realm. But there's still uncertainty about other cast members that'll be in the movie, other than, of course, Ice Cube and Mike Epps be in the movie. But there's still no word on if Chris Tucker will be in the movie. But that would be huge. Even if he makes a cameo in the movie, that would be major as well. So hopefully he will be in the movie. There's been speculation that DC Young Fly might be in the movie, but they did guarantee more laughs on this movie than any other movie. And I'll talk about some of the things that most people want to see and what I want to see from the movie as far as expectation wise, because them saying that it'll be more laughs on this movie on the last Friday than any other Friday is a big guarantee. And that's a bold statement. So there's a lot of things that need to be made possible or need to be made in order for that fulfillment to be satisfied. And all of it has to do with, um, and they'll probably have to do it without Chris Tucker, possibly. So, can they still do it without Chris Tucker? We know John Witherspoon has passed away. Rest in peace. They would have to do without him anyway. They would have to do without Bernie Mac. Rest in peace. Who was on the first Friday. Um, they would have to do without him. Uh, Anthony Johnson, who played Ezel on the first Friday, they will have to do without him as well. I mean, well, can they retain Chris Tucker and get this thing going, at least a cameo? What about Cat Williams? He was a huge part in the third movie. It would make more sense to put him on the fourth when he just came off the third movie and he had a lot of superstardom and stuff between that Friday after next movie all the way to now. Will he cost too much money? Will it be too much? Will he do it for the culture, so to speak? So that's a huge story about will Cat Williams be able to do this movie? Because I think it'll make a huge difference. Even a smaller uh, part or actor and or actress in part and some more, will she be able to come back for another movie? She was one of those ones that was just in the Friday After Next movie, but she's one of those smaller roles that I think played a good supporting cast. Will she be able to come back? I think so. I don't think it would have cost too much of as more of a Cat Williams or a Chris Tucker. And we know Chris Tucker talked about he didn't get paid a lot for the first one, first Friday. Michael Blackson, another one that shoot off a superstardom after next Friday. He wasn't on the third Friday, but he was on next Friday, the second one, and he had a lot of superstardom off just that one scene and that one part, about 10 minutes in the movie, sent him up to astronomical heights that he probably didn't imagine would happen so fast. But that little role in that part, made a celebrity out of him, which Ice Cube doesn't get credit of enough of him making other people celebrities. like what he did for Mike Epps and what he did for Cat Williams, what he did for even, in some sense, a Kevin Hart, being able to shoot them up to more higher heights than they were. They had a buzz, but then when you work with Ice Cube, and then you get with that wizardry that he had in the film business and TV business, it takes you up to another level. So he definitely doesn't get enough credit for that. But then lastly, Don Curry, who played Uncle Elroy. Um, One of his most memorable times in the film and TV world is when he played on Next Friday, and he was on Friday After Next as well. It had some memorable moments, but he's definitely one of the parts in the movie that people want to see. Very funny guy, but he's known mostly for his Friday series, from Next Friday and Friday After Next. So it make a lot of sense to put him in Last Friday. And I think they're on the right track to make this movie great, but I just don't want it to become Coming to America 2, which Coming to America 2 was kind of similar to what Friday is. It was a long hiatus, not as long as Coming to America's hiatus, because it was about 30 some years, I believe. But you don't want the movie to become just just become a social media or uh, social media event, or convention, because that's what Coming to America 2 was. It was just a bunch of social media influencers and up and coming actors and actresses just all over the place, and something that messed up the sequel. And I don't want to say they messed it up, but it was just the marriage wasn't there between the cast and between the plot, and it was just a cheesy film, which could have been done a lot better, but you can't go back and redo it now, so it's just stuck in history like that. And this Last Friday series needs to be something different. It needs to have bits and pieces from the old times of the old Fridays, but definitely newer moments as well. So that's why I think this movie needs to be close to 2.5 hours or even 3 hours to do it right. Because you can't do some short and concise and get a great project, and especially with it being the last Friday, so to speak, it's going to be very difficult not to do this right. Because if you don't do it right, then we will be like, oh, okay, that's why they took the hiatus, because we really didn't need a last one. So it's one of those things where it has to hit the films. It can't hit, can't go directly to Amazon or directly to Netflix or Hulu or anything like that. It needs to go directly to the movies, and we need to go out and see this film and actually spend time with it and get back to the old times of when you go back to the film. Because now, everything's HBO Max and Netflix, which is cool because sometimes you don't want to get to the movies, and sometimes you want to have the comfort in your own home. But this is one of the films that, or series that I think is one of the ones that's meant for the theaters, and it's been a long time since the last, Friday After Next came out. It's been over 20 years, so it's been a long 24-year hiatus. But I think and times have changed a lot, with the, like I talked about, with the HBO Maxes and Netflix and Hulus and things like that. But I think this is where you have to take it back to the nostalgia part of films and go back to strictly to the theaters. And of course, later it can venture off to Netflix and to digital and all that and stuff like that. But to get the true effects of the culture, you need to take this to the theaters. That's the only way I can see it. Tell me what your thoughts about this Last Friday movie and what needs to be done and your expectations for this movie. And until next time, I'll see you next time.